What if I told you that every single day, without you realizing it, demons are using a hidden weapon against you? A weapon so subtle, so ordinary, that most people laugh at it, until it destroys their peace, their family, and even their faith. Exorcist priest Father Chad Ripperger has revealed shocking details about how demons infiltrate daily life, through habits, distractions, emotions, and even things we call normal. But what if the very thing you ignore is the one tool the enemy uses to gain control over your soul? Stay with me, because in this video, you'll uncover the invisible danger that surrounds you every day, and the forgotten spiritual protection Father Ripperger insists you must never abandon. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, have you ever felt sudden, unexplainable anxiety or anger out of nowhere? Father Chad Ripperger is not just another priest. He is an exorcist who has spent years confronting the darkest realities most of us can't even imagine. When he speaks about spiritual warfare, it's not theory, it's experience. He has looked into the eyes of those tormented by forces beyond this world, and has seen firsthand how demons exploit the smallest cracks in our daily lives. Imagine this. You wake up feeling fine, but suddenly you are overwhelmed with anger toward a loved one for no real reason. Or maybe you sit down to pray, and out of nowhere, your mind is flooded with distractions, doubts, or even despair. Father Ripperger teaches that these aren't always random. Sometimes, they are the precise moments when the enemy is at work, planting seeds that grow into chaos. And here's the terrifying part. The weapon demons use isn't always obvious. In fact, it's usually disguised as something harmless, habits, thoughts, or emotions that seem normal. That's exactly why most people never notice until it's too late. But Father Ripperger insists there is a way to fight back, and it begins with recognizing the secret weapon before it destroys your soul. Father Chad Ripperger explains that demons rarely begin with something obvious. They are intelligent spirits who study us, who observe our weaknesses, our routines, and even the words we speak when we think no one is listening. And once they find an opening, they don't launch a full attack right away. Instead, they whisper. They distort. They use the smallest weapon possible because they know that if they can gain control of the little things, the bigger battles will fall easily. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how one negative thought, if not controlled, turns into an entire spiral of self-doubt? Or how a small irritation at work suddenly explodes into rage at home? Father Ripperger insists that demons love to push us in these directions because it doesn't take much for the human mind and heart to collapse under pressure. What starts as a minor annoyance can end in broken relationships, despair, or even the loss of faith. This is the hidden danger behind everyday spiritual battles. Most people don't even realize they are in a war. They see anxiety as just stress, lust as just temptation, and confusion as just coincidence. But an exorcist like Father Ripperger knows better. He teaches that these ordinary struggles are often carefully crafted weapons, designed to weaken the soul day by day until resistance is gone. And here lies the true escalation. The longer you ignore the source of these battles, the stronger they become. What begins as a distraction in prayer grows into abandonment of prayer. What starts as a tiny compromise in morality leads to chains of addiction. Demons don't rush, they are patient. Their weapon is consistency. Daily attacks hidden beneath the mask of normal life until the soul is trapped. But here's the part most people overlook. According to Father Ripperger, the devil's favorite battlefield isn't somewhere far away. It's inside the mind. He once explained that demons plant thoughts that feel so natural, we assume they are our own. The constant voice that tells you you're not good enough, the sudden urge to sin when no one is watching, the unexplainable wave of despair in the middle of the night. He warns that these may not be coincidences, but calculated strikes. And yet, as dark as this sounds, there's a deeper revelation waiting. Because Father Ripperger doesn't just expose the strategy, he also reveals the weapon that heaven gives us to fight back. A weapon so powerful that demons tremble when it's used correctly. Stay with me, because in a moment, we will uncover exactly what that weapon is, and why most people, tragically, never use it. When Father Chad Ripperger speaks about demonic tactics, his words carry the weight of battle-tested truth. He is not simply repeating theology from a textbook. He has stood in the very room where unseen forces manifest, where human strength collapses, and only the authority of Christ can prevail. That experience has given him an unshakable clarity. The devil's most powerful weapon is subtlety. In one of his conferences, Father Ripperger explained that the enemy prefers to fly under the radar. Instead of provoking obvious manifestations, demons work quietly, planting thoughts and impulses that slowly shift the direction of a person's life. The devil doesn't need to drag you into possession, he once said, if he can convince you to live in a state of sin. And this is where the hidden danger lies. Countless souls fall not because of dramatic battles, but because they never realized they were even in one. He also warns that demons exploit not only our sins, but also our wounds. A word spoken in anger years ago, a moment of rejection, or a memory of betrayal, these can become entry points. The enemy twists pain into resentment, sadness into despair, and insecurity into pride. And for Father Ripperger, this is not speculation. He has witnessed people tormented for decades simply because they ignored these hidden spiritual openings. But the Church, too, confirms his teachings. The Catechism of the Catholic Church reminds us that we are constantly engaged in spiritual warfare, that prayer, sacramentals, and virtue are not optional, but necessary armor. Saints like Padre Pio and Saint Teresa of Avila echoed the same truth centuries ago. The devil works most effectively in the shadows of daily life. And yet, Father Ripperger insists that we are not powerless. In fact, he reveals that the most effective weapons are often the simplest ones, so simple, most Catholics neglect them. He stresses the power of confession, where sin is broken at its root. He highlights the rosary, which he describes as a chain that binds demons. And he points to holy water, explaining that it disrupts the influence of evil spirits in ways science can never explain. These weapons are available to every believer. And yet, the tragedy is that many ignore them, relying instead on their own strength, unaware that the enemy is striking daily. But here's the question Father Ripperger leaves us with. If demons truly use these secret weapons every day, what happens to those who never recognize the signs? Father Chad Ripperger makes it clear. The secret weapon demons use against you every single day is temptation disguised as normal thought. It is not the Hollywood image of demons appearing with fire and smoke. It's far more ordinary, far more deceptive. The devil knows that if he can convince you that every dark impulse is just your own idea, then you will never fight it. He explains that demons manipulate the imagination and emotions, suggesting ideas that feel so natural we don't even question them. A sudden whisper of doubt during prayer, the thought that it's too late to change, the quiet suggestion that God doesn't care. These are not always random. According to Father Ripperger, they are injected thoughts, carefully planted to weaken your resolve. But here's where the danger intensifies. Once you accept those thoughts as your own, you begin to act on them. That's when the devil no longer needs to push. You carry out the destruction yourself. A cycle of sin begins, reinforced every day, until your soul is chained. And the enemy never reveals his hand, because the greatest trick is to remain invisible. Father Ripperger exposes this strategy with urgency. The devil is not interested in entertaining you with shows of power. He is interested in destroying your soul quietly. And the only way to resist is to recognize that not every thought is your own. Some must be rejected, cast out, and confronted with prayer. This is why he insists on spiritual weapons. The sign of the cross when temptations arise. The rosary, prayed with devotion, which he describes as unbearable for demons. The sacrament of confession, where every secret chain is broken in the name of Christ. These are not just religious rituals, they are weapons of war. And the hidden truth is this: if you are not using these weapons daily, you are already losing the battle. Because whether you believe it or not, the attacks are happening every day, every hour. And the more unaware you are, the easier it is for the enemy to win. But Father Ripperger also revealed a forgotten weapon, one so powerful, yet almost no one uses it anymore. And that might just be the key to winning battles you don't even realize you are fighting. When you begin to recognize the enemy's hidden weapon, something extraordinary happens. You take back control of your mind, your heart, and your soul. Father Chad Ripperger emphasizes that the first victory is not external. It's interior. The moment you stop believing every dark thought is yours, you weaken the devil's strongest tactic. Think back to the moments we described earlier: the sudden anger at a loved one, the distractions during prayer, the unexplained wave of despair. When you learn to name these as possible attacks, you no longer react blindly. Instead, you pause, pray, and respond with strength. That simple act shifts the entire battle. Psychologists today confirm what the Church has taught for centuries. Unchecked thoughts shape emotions, and emotions shape actions. By cutting off toxic thoughts at the root, you prevent destructive behaviors before they even begin. Spiritually, this means breaking cycles of sin. Psychologically, it means freedom from anxiety, despair, and fear. Father Ripperger insists that confession doesn't just cleanse the soul, it restores clarity of mind. The rosary doesn't just protect spiritually, it brings peace and discipline to the heart. Holy water doesn't just repel demons, it reminds the believer of their baptism, recentering their identity as a child of God. These aren't abstract benefits, they are real tools that bring order to a chaotic world. And here's the most powerful callback: those ordinary battles, the distractions, the anger, the sadness, become opportunities for victory. Instead of seeing them as random frustrations, you recognize them as tests. And with every prayer, every confession, every use of sacramentals, you transform hidden attacks into visible triumphs. In the words of Father Ripperger, the devil may strike every day, but grace is stronger every moment. But there is still one more truth that shakes the soul. Because as much as these weapons defend us, Father Ripperger warns that demons especially fear a forgotten practice, an ancient weapon that modern Catholics have almost abandoned. And without it, the battle is far more dangerous than you think. Father Chad Ripperger has pulled back the veil on a terrifying reality. Demons don't need to roar to destroy you. They just need you to stay blind. Every day, the hidden weapon of injected thoughts, subtle temptations, and emotional manipulation is aimed directly at your soul. And yet, God has not left us defenseless. The rosary, confession, holy water, the sign of the cross, these are shields forged in eternity. But there is still something more. Because according to Father Ripperger, there is one spiritual weapon demons fear above all. Not many speak about it anymore. Not many practice it. And yet, it was once at the very heart of Christian life. He warns that without it, all your defenses remain incomplete. What is this forgotten weapon? Why does the devil tremble before it? And how can rediscovering it transform your spiritual battles forever? That's what we'll reveal in our next message. Until then, remember, the attacks are real, the danger is daily, but the power of God is greater than any darkness you face. Tell me in the comments, do you believe you've experienced these hidden attacks before?